Hey everyone, it's been just over a month since I released StoryFlow Editor into early access on Steam. Though honestly, it feels more like 6 months. I've been working on updates almost every day, and in this video I'll show you a big one that adds audio support, a character system, and a bunch of other improvements. Building branching stories is basically programming. You're constantly thinking through logic paths, conditions, and how different choices connect together. And that kind of structured thinking is a real skill you can develop. That's why I want to recommend you today's sponsor, Brilliant, an interactive learning platform where you can learn math, computer science, and programming to unleash your full potential. And you do it by solving problems, not by memorizing formulas or sitting through long lectures. Everything is visual and hands-on, which honestly feels similar to working with node-based visual scripting. What I really like is that every course is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers and professionals. Their algorithmic thinking course, for example, teaches you how to break down complex problems into logical steps, which is exactly what you do when designing branching narratives. To try Brilliant for free, go to brilliant.org/solsticesdev. The link is in the description. And they're giving my viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription. Alright, let's go through the biggest changes in this update of StoryFlow Editor. Audio support. You can now import audio files into your project and use them in dialogues. The editor supports MP3 and WAV formats. You can select audio in the dialogue editor panel or just drag and drop files from the content browser straight onto a dialogue node. It works both ways. Once you've added audio to a dialogue, you'll see a little audio player right on the node with play, stop, and a progress bar, so you can preview sounds without leaving the editor. There's also a loop option if you want the audio to repeat. Characters system. You can also create characters now. Just right-click in the content browser and create a new character file. Then you can set their name, assign a portrait image, and even add custom variables of any type: strings, integers, booleans, floats. These character variables will be useful for tracking things like relationship stats or character-specific flags. Once you've created a character, you can assign them to dialogue nodes. During playback, the character's name and portrait will appear with the dialogue text. Improved dialogue panel. You might notice the dialogue editing panel looks a bit different. With all the new settings for audio, characters, and images, the panel was getting crowded. So now everything is organized into collapsible sections. You can expand just the parts you're working with and collapse the rest. It's much cleaner now. Variable display. Now when you use a variable inside dialog text using the curly brace syntax, it shows up as a styled chip, both in the dialog editor and on the node itself. This makes it much easier to see at a glance which variables you're using in your text. Once only options. One request from the Discord was the ability to make a dialogue option available only once. You could do this before, but it meant adding extra nodes and the graph ended up looking like a mess. Now you can just click a button to mark an option as once only, and it will disappear after being clicked, even if the player returns to that dialogue later. New nodes. I've added a couple of new nodes to make your workflows simpler. Set background image lets you change the background without creating a new dialogue node. This is useful when you want to transition scenes while keeping the same conversation going. Play audio works similarly. You can trigger a sound effect or music without switching dialogues. It also has a loop option for background music. Both of these nodes have drag and drop support, so you can just drag files from the content browser right onto them. Comment node improvements. To make organizing your nodes easier, comment nodes now always stay behind all other nodes. They won't cover your work anymore. And when you drag a comment, all the nodes sitting inside it will move together as a group. This makes it way easier to reorganize sections of your graph. Connection style. There's also a new visual setting called connection style that changes how the lines between nodes look. You've got three options: curve, which is the default and matches previous versions, straight for direct lines, and step. Pick whatever looks cleaner for your project. Other improvements. On top of all that, there are lots of smaller improvements and some performance optimizations. This is a big update, so if you run into any bugs, please report them on Discord. What's next? Now let me quickly talk about what's coming up. In a recent update, I added macOS support, so StoryFlow Editor now works on both Windows and Mac. Right now I'm working on native Linux support, and that should be ready in one of the next updates. I also want to update the default project that gets created when you start a new project. It hasn't changed since the initial release, and we've added so much new functionality since then. So in one of the next updates, I'll include more examples showing off audio, characters, and all the other new features. The foundation of the app is looking solid now, and soon I'll start posting video tutorials here on the YouTube channel to help you get started. There's also progress on the game engine plugins, and I'll start showing those off soon too. If you check the roadmap, you'll see that characters and sounds are now complete, which is what this update was all about. Engine plugins are actively in the works. After that, the next big priority will be localization features. This is something most serious projects require, so I want to get it in sooner rather than later. Consider joining the Discord server. That's where I'm most active and where a lot of feature ideas come from. You can also wishlist StoryFlow Editor on Steam if you want to support the project and stay updated on new releases. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.